Do you want to play a game? Hello and welcome to Kevin's commentary on comics. Today I'm taking a little different route from the norm. I wanted to review a game I've recently started binging on called Marvel Contest of Champions. Now, why would I want to do this review on today's show when I usually do a collectible-based one on Mondays? Well, one of the goals of the game is to collect as many champions as you can. So, see what I did there? Kind of collect in the game with the stuff. All right, well, Marvel Contest of Champions is your standard one-on-one fighting game. You've got two characters that face off against each other, and it's a battle until one of them is knocked out. There's a mixture of heroes and villains, and there are different quests and events, and there's a story that's built around it, but generally the story is kind of lame. Doesn't really do much except maybe forward it along a little bit. So you start off here. This is the main menu page. That center screen is usually to sell you stuff. Yes, you can buy your very own Deadpool. It also has tips on how to play the game, when your next set of free crystals are available, and I'll explain that later. What is in your stash, which is kind of a surprise inventory. And of course, you can join an alliance, which I have not done and probably won't. Along the bottom here, you can see there are chat functions. Again, I've never tried that. Probably never will. So along the top of the menu items to get to the various pieces of the game. The first and most important is fight, but we'll get to that one in a second. So the next one here is alliance, and here's where you can join other players and create an alliance that somehow helps you out. So the next menu item is crystals. Now crystals are received either during gameplay. You can also get one free each day, and you can buy them. Crystals unlock various items, power-ups like ISO 8, which is what you use to upgrade your characters. The crystals can even contain characters if you happen to get one of those. To open the crystals, you go to this screen here, you drag the crystal from the upper left onto the little outline that's there, and it spins around until you tap on it, then it'll stop and it will reveal what's inside the crystal. Now, I went through this whole process a few times, and it really actually got kind of boring to wait for it to spin around, and supposedly you can stop it on one that you're looking for, but that really never seemed to work. It seemed to be very random. So finally I saw the little button in the lower right-hand corner there that said open crystal, and so I've just been doing that. Much faster, much easier. Next on the menu item, you have got champions, and these are where all your characters are that you have on your team. You tap on a character to choose whether to upgrade it, get info about the character, or to sell him or her. If you go to upgrade, you'll go to this screen here where you have your character on the left-hand side and the ISO 8, which you got from the crystals along the right-hand side. So you just tap on the ISO 8 to add it to your character, click upgrade, which does cost gold, and you accumulate gold as you go through the quests and the events and such. And then boom, your character is more powerful. You will level your character up to level 10, and then once you hit that point, you've got to actually get some special catalyst style ISO 8 in order to go beyond that. So the info page gives general information about the hero. The tiers are defined in stars, and I've noticed gold stars and silver stars so far. There may be red stars, I don't know. I don't know what the color represents. Obviously the number of stars indicates how powerful the character is. The info page also lists the special attacks, which I'll talk about in the fight section, but you can see what the different descriptions are. There's also a synergy bonus, which increases the health or the attacks based on the other characters in your team. So you can see here, Spider-Man being on a team with Wolverine gives him a 5% health boost. And finally, there's a little bio on each character, which kind of goes through the origin standard stuff. Inventory is simply a list of all the items in your inventory, duh. If you have upgrade items like your ISO 8s and regular items, which includes like health, energy, and revives, these are all things you can either buy or you'll obtain in your quests, and you can use them throughout the game. And of course, the store is where you can buy items, the infamous in-game purchases. Now, some of the items in the store just take credits that you earn as you go through the game, and others are actual ones you can actually pay real cash for. So now on to the main event, the fight. You start by selecting what type of fight you want. You've got story quests, event quests, or verses. Story quests are ongoing quests that take you through several acts that consist of walking through a map, fighting someone, and proceeding through the map till you get to the finish. And at the end, you are rewarded. Within the act are chapters where you have to play it a few times in order to complete them. So once you successfully go through a chapter once, the next chapter is unlocked. I assume you can go through each one maybe one time, each chapter, and maybe that unlocks the next act. But again, I haven't checked that because I can't leave a chapter at 10% or 50% or whatever. It has to be 100%. I got to finish it. Event quests are shorter than the story quests, and the rewards are a little different. For example, they've got specific crystals that are tied to the event quests. And then the versus is where you fight another player. I've only done the one-on-one quick matches so far. I'm not really sure what the 3 versus 3 does. I'm sure I'll try that out someday. But basically, like I said, you pick one of your champions and you go up against another champion of similar level, and then you fight, and whoever wins, wins. So far, I'm undefeated, but I've only fought like 7 quick matches. So back to the story quest. So you click on your chapter, and the first thing you do is you pick your team. So you can see along the top, you have the title of the chapter and what the recommended strength is of the team in order to get through this particular chapter. You'll see what they recommend, and then you'll see your current team's strength level. So as you swap out players in your team, that strength level may increase based on who's on the team. You do that by clicking the Edit Team button. So you start out with 3 character slots, and then you gain another slot at level 11 and a 4th slot at level 25, and I think that's it. So once you have your team in place, you tap Begin Quest to start the battle. Now in the story quest, you get some narrative. So as you see here, you've got the collector. He's talking to me, the summoner. That's me. I'm the one summoning champions to fight the other champions. Basically, you're fighting for the collector's team against Kang's team. This is the only story quest I've done so far, but I assume that each one basically kind of follows the same style. You get a little narrative before the battle begins. And whether the information within it is valuable or not, it's debatable. I think it's just a tool to kind of keep the fighting going along. So here is some examples of the maps of the chapters. You move through it by selecting the green spot, and each time you move from one section to the other, it expends the energy that you see in the top middle of the screen. Once you've run out of energy, you're kind of stuck until it recharges. So as you go through, you have choices on which direction to go. This is why it takes a few rounds to get through a chapter. You can decide to go where you see an item is that you'd like to get, or if there's health or a chest that usually contains ISO 8 but could have a character crystal in it as well. You don't really know until you get to the end of the chapter. And you can see these different quests have a different look for the map. You can also see who you will be fighting in each stop. And some of these actually have ambushes, so it may be blank on the map, but once you get to that spot, you'll see ambush, and then you'll probably fight an adaptoid. Now, I tend to just finish out each path and not worry about who's coming up. Now, all of the fighting within this is basically the same for whatever character you're doing. So as long as you're in a quest that's within your strength level, you should be okay. Don't worry about who's coming up. Just make sure you finish each path so you get 100% of that chapter. And obviously the last character you fight is considered the boss and is usually tougher than the rest. So when you hit a spot that has an opponent, you will see this screen. The game automatically puts up the character with the highest health level. Now, if everyone is even, it may put up a character that has an advantage over the opponent. And you can change this as you want. If you don't want to use Spider-Man here, you can switch him to Wolverine if you want. As you can see here, the opponent screen here will tell you if someone has an advantage over the opponent. So Gamora here has an advantage over Iron Man because she's cosmic and he's tech, and apparently cosmic beats tech or something along those lines. So she gets a plus 24 attack because of it. So once you choose your champion, you can click Fight and the real game begins. Now, every match starts out with the champions running toward each other. And to fight, you simply tap with your right thumb or finger, however you're holding your phone or device. You tap for a small attack, you swipe right for a bigger attack, and you hold and release for a heavy attack. And by combining these various combos, you'll get some sort of combination attacks. Now, if there's a formula such as tap, tap, swipe, hold, tap, I don't know. Probably there is, but I just start tapping and swiping like crazy whenever I'm fighting. You shield yourself by holding with your left thumb or finger or whatever. This is very valuable as it reduces the damage, but it's hard to master because if your opponent is wailing on you, you can't go into shield mode until he or she lets up. Now along the bottom, you'll see an octagon with 1 to 3 gauges next to it. These are your power-up indicators. So as you fight, when your first one fills up, the octagon turns green. You can tap it and you'll get your first power-up, which is a character-based kind of advanced attack. And you gain more of these power-ups as you increase in rank. And I think you can only get up to 3, because the third one, which turns red when it's ready, sets off a pretty cool little fight animation and does some pretty good damage. So that's basically it. All of the fighting is the same, regardless of what character you're playing. Maybe some of the animations are a little bit different, but it's all basically the same, other than the power-ups, which, you know, like if you're playing Hawkeye, he'll actually fire an arrow during one of those power-ups. Otherwise, he's just fighting you. If you don't have any revives, once a character is knocked out, you cannot use him or her for the remainder of the chapter. Once you finish a chapter, though, you start the next one with everyone at full health and awake, not knocked out. So at the end of the chapter, you get to claim your rewards by opening the chest you found, and you can see what's in there. Again, usually it's ISO 8, but sometimes you get some of the revives or the energy or even a character crystal if you're lucky. So the game is really pretty fun for a basic fighting game. I think the graphics are great, and the gameplay is very easy, which I like. I'm not into really overly complicated controls when it comes to these type of games, whether it's on a phone or on my PlayStation. I like simple. The sounds are good. You do need an internet connection to play, which I guess is necessary, but you know, an offline mode would be nice. So from the collectability side, hey, I want to get as many characters as I can. Apparently, when you get a double of the same character, it will combine and make that one character you already had into a higher ranking character. So even if you get doubles, it's okay because there's some value to it. But it has to be exactly the same. So like I have a Wolverine that's 1 star. I gained a Wolverine that's a 2 star, but those don't merge. They have to be exactly the same. I would have had to have gotten another Wolverine 1 star in order to merge them up. I don't know how many you can collect. I'm assuming all, so I'm interested in collecting as many as I can. But even saying that, I've only settled on using the same team so far throughout most of my fights. I've got a 3-star Captain America, a 2-star Wolverine, and a 1-star Spider-Man and Vision. And that has been the team I have pretty much settled on. So check the game out. It's pretty fun. One disclaimer, though. I have an iPhone 6 Plus, and I'm sure this larger screen on this phone makes it easier to play. I haven't tried this on my iPad yet, although that might be kind of cool, or it could be a lot harder just holding the iPad, knowing what you need to do with the controls. But it may actually be cool. I'll have to check that out. So my name's Kevin. That was my commentary. Have you played or are playing Marvel Contest of Champions? What do you think about it? Let me know in a comment below. I know Marvel has several games out there, but I thought this one was probably better than, let's say, Heroes Alliance, which is basically just kind of a match 3 or more style puzzle game. Like I said, they have others. I may have to try them out because I do like the way this one works and the way it plays. Do you have any suggestions on those other games? Let me know what they are. Comment below. Tell me about it. Now, I need to go because I want to try to level up my Spider-Man. And while I do that, why not hit that subscribe button? You know, it'll give you a plus 24 attack advantage. Yeah, it will.